afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another bout of Propagandacast news from the host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda and Master of News. The news you need to know. And we're back here with another update to the December balance people. It's 1.4 and there's certainly a lot of things going on there. So the more general changes, the demo charges are now apparently they can't be put within territorial sectors here. And they can be seen from like some time away there. So they lose the time up, on the other hand they're easy to spot and they can't be placed around there, the vital bits. So that's sort of one change to sort of trying there with the demo charge. Overall, also some smaller changes to the command vest, the American, some units being slightly changed up there. Osman loses some range, Jackson gets more accuracy but loses some other bits. I actually think he loses accuracy. And the command vest, I can't quite remember what happens. But also some smaller changes. The overall sort of line share of the changes are basically the Brits. This is all about the Brits. The Commando revamps are first happening for the Brits, but basically Commando and Royal Engineers are getting the changes. With the Commando, basically smoke red operation, instead of just being mass sectors, it's sort of more of a specific sort of area of effect ability now. Assault now affects all infantry, also becomes cheaper, and has some other benefits like movement. That way becomes more accessible in a way. Commando glider becomes 3 command points, becomes a lot cheaper, and it can be enforced in hostile territories, so I'd expect a lot more commandos. More to cover, covers a smaller sector as well. And sort of can that way just saturate the entire area. In fact, it might be a bit too good there. And I'm not entirely sure about smoke rate operation myself personally. It seems perhaps a bit too difficult to get to work now. I think they might actually just to change it back. An air supremacy operation now has air support, so more fully going in on a smaller area with a strafing run, rockets, and then bombers, and also becomes cheaper. So overall, Commander just becomes a lot more viable with these changes, though again in some cases a bit too good. The commanders themselves also see some changes. The Gamma Bomb becomes slightly nerfed, and the commander's ambush ability becomes improved. They also get some slight change to the veterans ability. They still heal for veteranry 1. The smoke grenade, by the way, becomes an actual smoke grenade rather than just something that creates light cover, which was really weird. So in that regard, basically the commanders just gain a lot more utility overall. And the ambush ability now can allow them to fire on the move as to sprint out of it, so they just become even more potent, and that way has even more bigger potential just wiping stuff. So there's definitely some nasty things there, and they might have slightly overtuned the commandos with this. But overall, commander rating getting a lot there. Royal Artillery not so much. The command vehicle bit there though gets interesting. It now doesn't affect the speed of the vehicles, so now better keep pace with the rest. Doesn't help the received accuracies, they become harder to kill, but it will just always boost them, so it becomes also much more useful ability offensively, and that should certainly help out with that part there with the command vehicle creation. Most of the other abilities don't receive any sort of notable changes, to be honest. So there's not so much else going on in that part. It gets in a revamp, but I don't think anything sort of, noteworthy compared to Commando, which really sort of got the big overhaul. I imagine we'll get sort of more commanders revamped sort of as time goes on. Moving on though, there's still a lot of changes with the Brits, and that's a big laundry list there of changes going on. Basically, infantry sections get nerfed in many ways. Basically, they lose some of the received accuracy, which one thing I definitely always wanted them to lose, because it just made them too good and just increased the tendency to blob them. So that's sort of something they get hit with. They also become a bit more costly in population once they become bolstered. So that is also a big change. So they lose a bit of reload speed on the Bren gun, so that's will help them down the road. But what this means, these changes, and also some others, I can't quite remember, I'm a bit tired now. It means overall the Brits infantry section becomes harder to blob and just harder to run about out in the open, which is really the issue there. The British infantry section was just bulletproof and just became even more bulletproof with veterancy. So that's a huge change there. That's going to definitely shake up things then. They certainly feel less immediately powerful, but they're certainly going to still be able to hit hard, but you have to use cover more actively now, and of course you can't just blob around. So that's a personal one I'm a really huge fan of. Sappers also lose a bit there, so they become just less spammable as well, though that's mostly sort of their veterancy 3 and the bonuses they get there that becomes less impressive. Plus the heavy sapper upgrade gets some slight nerfs as well. Also what gets nerfed is emplacements. Brace basically becomes longer lasting. It's gone from 30 to 20 seconds, and it takes also becomes less effective at repairs then. So if you're trying to repair something that's braced, you only get like I think 25% of the effect or something like that. So that's also a rather large difference there to the Brits. In that sense, the Centaur gets buffs. Of course, not all knife to the Brits. I mean, there's some things, of course, that have been less utilised. That's being made more effective, which is good. Also, remember, the have to remember one point out, well, remember the infantry section change also applies to tank hunter sections, who by the way also lose their veteran free, scope Lee Enfields, which just caused them to drop weapons. That's gone now, so that's not going to happen anymore, which I'm sure a lot of players will be relieved about. So yeah, big things there. Mortar placement also lose a bit of range. The 17-pounder gun becomes cheaper to overall utilize and gains the ability to just shoot through stuff as a veterancy 0 ability, so you don't have to veterans up to do that in the first place. That should help the 17-pounder gun a bit. And the Fort Assembly can now upgrade with medics. Does now then affect the emplacement around it, so you can't just lump them around it. So that helps it out a bit as well. You can't though have both repair chaps and medics on it at the same time though, and the repair chaps can't repair it itself. So that sort of gives some more incentive towards using that one a bit more intelligent. So it's up certainly for more Fort Assembly tactics with it. So that's kind of neat there, and certainly does some good for the Brits in that way. Crocodile gets nerfed, less damage, less health, more armor though, and I think the Churchill also receives a slight tap on the wrist there. And I believe they also buff the artillery there. You can call in from your base, so that also changed there. For example, shoots in more artillery, and I think it also becomes a bit more accurate or faster reacting. I can't quite remember there. So those are also some changes there going on. So a lot there going on with the British, both in terms of the commanders, but also just sort of the basic Britness there. A lot of things happening which would overall shake up the Brits to be a more interesting faction with a lot more potential viable strategies and tactics, which is good. And of course less cheese, since that was one of the issues again, the bulletproof section. So that should overall call up. Probably again missed some things because I'm tired, so I do apologise for that. But overall I believe I'm coming to the main points, the important points, which again is Brit blobs become a lot harder to pull off, and that one's got me excited. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something from it. If you didn't, subscribe, like, share and comment. And this is Imperial signing off, and see you all for another video in the future. Cheers.